What we're going to do is we're going to start a new unit, arithmetic and geometric sequences. And in doing this, what we have are multiple formulas. The first formula that we're going to be looking at is the arithmetic recursive formula. That would be a sub 1 equals whatever our first term is. A sub n equals a sub n minus 1 plus our common difference. The a sub n minus 1 means the previous term, and the a sub n is always the term that we're trying to find. Now, the explicit form, this is the one that we're going to use the most. It's finding our nth term. And so we have our first term, this is how many terms, and this is the common difference. So what we're going to be doing is writing an arithmetic recursive and explicit form. So for the first one, we see that our A1 is 3, and we see that it's going up by 2. That would be our common difference. So for our arithmetic recursive form, what we have is a sub 1 equals 3, a sub n equals a sub n minus 1 plus 2. For the explicit form, what we have is a sub n equals, our first term is 3 plus, and then what we have is n minus 1 and then 2. Now for the second one, what we have is our first term being 8, then we have a sub n equals a sub n minus 1. And we notice that with our pattern, what we see is that it's going down by 3. So we put minus 30. For the explicit form, what we have is a sub n equals, our first term is 8, plus we have the n minus 1. We're going to put the negative 3 in parentheses so it doesn't look like minus 3. We're timesing it by negative 3. For the next one, our recursive form, what we have is a sub 1 equals, and then our first term is 1, and we see that it's going up by 4. So a sub n equals a sub n minus 1, and then plus 4. For the next one, our explicit, what we have is a sub n equals 1 plus, and then n minus 1 times 4. Now, for example 2, what we're doing is we're finding our 10th term. So we're going to use our nth term formula. That would be the explicit form. So we're going to go a sub 10 equals, our first term is negative 2, and we see that it's going up by 6. So we have plus 10 minus 1, and then we're going to times it by 6. That right there gives us 52. For letter B, we're once again finding the 10th term because that's what it tells us to do. Our first term is negative 8. We have 10 minus 1. Our common difference is going down by 2, so I'm going to times it by negative 2. If you're not using a calculator, what you could do is just go 9 minus 1. 10 minus 1 is 9. 9 times negative 2 is negative 18. And then plus negative 8 gives us negative 26. Or just put it in the calculator and get your answer. So for the next one, a sub 10 equals, our first term is 3. What we have is 10 minus 1. And we see that it's going up by 5. So that means that a sub 10 is equal to 48. Now, for the next one, they have the recursive form, and what we're going to do is we're going to find the explicit form. They tell us our first term, they tell us the common difference. So we're going to plug it in. Notice it's saying find the 20th term. So we're going to go a sub 20 equals 5 plus 20 minus 1, and we're going to times it by 7. And that right there gives us the answer of 138. For the next one, a sub 20 equals, our first term is negative 2. Then what we have is 20 minus 1, and I'm going to times it by negative 1. So a sub 20 equals, I plug it into my calculator, and I get negative 21. So for letter C, I have a sub 20 equals, my first term is 10. Then I have 20 minus 1, and I'm timesing it by negative 6. So a sub 20 equals, and that would give me negative 104. Now, for the last ones, what we're going to do is we're going to write the arithmetic explicit form. The problem is they don't give us the first term or the common difference, so we have to find them. The common difference is the same thing as the slope. So whenever we're finding the common difference, think of finding the slope. Think of this as the ordered pair 416, and this is the ordered pair 728. So we're going to go 28 minus 16 over 7 minus 4. That would be 12 over 3, which is 4. I'm going to plug that into the formula. 16 equals, and this is the explicit form, a sub n equals a sub 1 plus, and then n minus 1, and then d. So 16 equals, and then what we have is a sub 1 plus, I have 4 minus 1, and I'm going to times that by my common difference, which is 4. That gives me 16 is equal a sub 1, which is 12. And so when I subtract the 12, I get a sub 1 equals 4. So that right there gives me the formula a sub n equals, my first term is 4, my common difference is 4. So let's look at the next one. I'm going to find the common difference, and I'm going to use the slope form. 22 minus a negative 2 over 10 minus 6. That would be 24 over 4, which is 6. I'm going to use this point right here, negative 2 equals. I'm trying to find my first term. I'm plugging in the 6 minus 1, and then my common difference is 6. So that right there gives me 30. So I have negative 2 equals a sub 1 plus 30. So that means a sub 1 equals negative 32. So my final formula is a sub n equals negative 32 plus, and then I have n minus 1 and then 6. So for our last one, once again, in order to find the common difference, it's really the slope, negative 17 minus a negative 3. And then 25 minus 18. That right there gives me negative 14 over, and then that gives me 7, which is negative 2. So I'm going to use this point right here, negative 3 equals a sub 1 plus, and then 18 minus 1, and I'm timesing it by negative 2. So negative 3 equals a sub 1, and that would be negative 34. So when I add it, what I get is a positive 31. So my answer is a sub n equals 31 plus n minus 1 times negative 2.